Hi, happy Friday. So today I thought we could go a little deeper into my vlog from yesterday where I tried to do a little video blogging. If you didn't read that or see that, then you can go down on my page and link to that. But what I was talking about was the one most successful step to making real change. And surprisingly to many, that's self-compassion. And so I thought we could just break down the neuroscience of that a little more because it may sound complicated or unbelievable, and I just want you to really get it because making change is hard. Every human knows that. And so what I want you to do is understand what could make it a little easier. So, let's break it down into two parts. One is just to reiterate something really important from that vlog, from that video I made, which is that often we confuse accountability and shame. We just confuse it all the time, right? So we think we can't let ourselves off that proverbial hook, which that hook hurts. So we can't let ourselves off that hook because we want to be accountable. We want to make change. And if we say, oh, it's okay, I'm just human, that we're just being too slack or too loosey-goosey about it. But actually, there is no reason to have shame with accountability, and accountability and self-compassion can live together quite well. And I'm going to give you some examples of that, okay? But what I really want you to understand before we go into examples is the second thing, which is a little bit more of the neuroscience around it, okay? Because self-compassion, what they found when they look at the brain and they look at what lights up with self-criticism versus self-compassion, it's really fascinating. So when we are critical of ourselves, okay, the prefrontal cortex, which you don't have to remember that, but if you're geeky like me and you want to know those names, I'm giving you those, that lights up. Particularly the lateral prefrontal cortex, which is particularly linked to inhibition. Okay, so inhibition is supposed to be protective. It's supposed to help us not dig ourselves into a hole or put ourselves into a dangerous position or a dangerous location, or, you know, it's protective. There's good reason for inhibition, right? But think about it. If you're degrading yourself constantly, if you're criticizing everything that you're doing, then you're activating the very centers of the brain that can inhibit your ability to make change. Oh my God, it's just like mind-blowing when I learned this years ago. So really, if you think about it, the harder you are on yourself, the less likely you are to go out and be making your goals happen, right? So that's huge. I just want you to really get that. I want you to ask me questions if you don't understand that, but I want you to really let that sink in, okay? That the more I degrade myself, the more I criticize myself, the more I am going to be the less likely, not more, the less likely I will be to make my change, okay? Okay, so the part about that I think is really crucial is that when we are trying to make change, right, often what we're doing is we are confusing the behavior with ourself, okay? Let me break that down a little. So when you want to make a change, when you are looking at a behavior that you have, instead of saying that when we slip up or have a setback, because remember I said slip-ups and setbacks are normal, when we have that happen, instead of saying that the behavior needs to change, our self-critical minds come into this fixed and solid view of ourselves that we need to change. Now, I know that you're thinking, I do need to change. Okay, I'm with you on that. But what I want you to reframe and shift to is my behavior needs to change. It's a key fundamental shift that everyone needs to make, because when you say, I need to change, you're having a fixed, solid view of yourself as flawed or not flawed, good or bad, wrong or right, loser or winner. Whereas if you look at it as the behavior needs to change, it's a behavior I don't want. It's a behavior I want to improve. It's a little different, okay? And when we get out of that fixed, solid, self-critical mind and language, we can move a little easier to self-compassion, okay? So let's just review what I've been saying, all right? One is that accountability and shame are not the same, okay? And you don't need to link those. Remember, I said there's no dictionary, ever. I've never found a definition for accountability that included shame. So that's number one. You can be accountable to yourself without shame, okay? Because shame just leads to that self-critical mind. Number two, the centers of the brain that are more likely to inhibit us, to put us out of danger, to not let us do something, are lit up when we're self-critical, okay? So when we're self-critical, we are less likely to change. We're less likely to go out and make our goal happen, okay? That's huge. And number three is that the more we see ourselves as fixed and solid, and that we, or I'm gonna put in the I, that I need to change, I am bad, I am flawed, the less likely we are to be able to get to a self-compassionate state, okay? So these are three key points I want you to get today, all right? So let's just role play a little, and I'm happy to role play with myself because I'm always trying to make change, and I'm always trying to reframe those critical voices in my mind because I'm human like you and I hear them too, okay? So let's say I am trying, right now a current change I'm trying to make is that I've always been, not always, but I had been good for many years about getting up and moving my body and exercising, okay? I'd get up and row at 4:30 in the morning, get up and go to yoga at 6 in the morning, whatever it was, I'm, sort of had held to that really well. And in the last, I'd say 1 to 2 months, or even more, maybe, I don't know, I don't remember, but I just have not been able to do that, okay? So sometimes I wake up and I hear that voice, and I hear the voice that starts off as, gosh, you didn't get up again. You're never gonna be able to get up. What's wrong with you? Why can't you do it? On and on and on in that sort of like you're a loser kind of talking voice, right? And you can see how that just won't help me. That can't help me because then it's going to stimulate that prefrontal cortex, that lateral part of the prefrontal cortex that's going to inhibit, make me look for comfort. Please don't yell at me. Please don't hurt me. Make me shrink back and inhibit me from going out and doing what I need to do. Do you see that? So it's very different though, because I still want to make the change, right? I don't want the behavior I have now. So it's very different for me to get up, not have gone to move my body, and to say to myself, I didn't get up and do what I wanted to do. I really want that behavior to change. I'm only human, but I really want to be better to myself. How can I support myself today? How can I give myself support and nurturing today so that I may have the chance to improve that behavior tomorrow? My goal is to improve this behavior, and I need to support myself to know that I can do this. This behavior can change, okay? But and it's not about like pumping myself up with self-esteem, like I'm a good person. I'm committed to exercise. I'm good, I can do this. It's not about self-esteem, actually. When they look at studies, self-esteem doesn't work like self-compassion. Self-compassion is just honoring that this behavior needs to change, that I can do this, and being my own best friend about it, right? Finding the common humanity in setbacks and being my own best friend. So that's kind of just one way. I'm happy to role play with anyone who wants to do it with a change you're trying to make because I love doing this. I do it with patients, I do it with friends, with people I'm teaching, and I'm happy to do it with you. But that would be fun once if we could get someone else on this live and we could role play for people. That's my goal now. See, now I have a new goal. But anyway, I really want you to let this sink in. So let me know how it resonates. Remember the 3 things. 1 is shame and accountability do not need to be linked. 2 is that the brain centers that light up when we're self-critical are the same centers that light up when we inhibit action, okay? And 3 is that if you see yourself as fixed and solid instead of looking at the behavior that needs to change and looking at yourself, self-criticism will prevail, okay? We need to look at just behavior needing to change, not as I'm flawed, I'm bad, I'm a loser, I'm not good, okay? So those 3 things I really want you to get today. I want you to let me know if they resonate. If you're having trouble with them, tell me, because I'd love to work through it with you. It's one of my favorite things. And if this is resonating for you, you might also want to pick up my free guide, 5 Tickets to Transformation, which is really a way to have principles, 5 simple principles to kind of lay out for your day, which include this self-compassion, so that you can be more joyful, more authentic, live a life that you really feel good about living. So that's just at my website at www.tanmeetsetimd.com/free. It's easy. So it's tanmeetsetimd.com/free. And I'll put a link to that below, but I know my name's hard, but if you're watching this on my page, you can see it up above. It's TAN, like Nancy, M as in Mary, EET, SETHIMD.com/free. Okay? So I'd love for you to pick that up. Tell me how that helped you, and I'd love for you to let me know how these principles are going to inform you making more change in your life and being more consistent with your goals. Okay? I hope that helped. I hope you're having a fabulous Friday, and I hope your weekend is even more beautiful. Okay? Bye.